Mhm.
but no, I haven't been doing so good lately.
Okay. Okay. What's been going on?
Uh, I'd like to say it's just end of the season stuff, but I'm just inconsistent with my playtime for the game.
Sure. Sure. Okay. And you said inconsistent with your playtime specifically?
Yes, I'll play a lot at the beginning of the season, but then I'll like stop halfway through.
Got it. Okay. Is there something, what kind of, I guess, leads to that, do you feel like? What leads to you being less motivated to play?
I just get bored of it, and I play other games with my friends.
Okay. Okay. Um, and so you're just looking for ways to find motivation or what specifically?
Probably just, well, not really motivation, just stabilize my current gameplay
Got it. Okay.
so I can
Okay.
have a clear goal.
Sure. Makes sense. Makes sense. I mean, I think like having goals can be motivating in of itself, but I will say that like if you're not enjoying the game, you know, taking a break is fine. Like I think that that's totally fine. So what we can do is we can give you some motivation. So like obviously new season today, so that's exciting. We can give you some goals for you to work on this season. But you know, if you're not enjoying the game and not motivated to play, then you know that's fine. It is what it is. Now, what rank are you at the moment?
Diamond for 1 second. I need to give someone permission to talk for me.
No problem. No problem.
Uh, what was it? Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. No worries at all. No worries at all. So Diamond 4 and you're playing Reaper. Now, what does your hero pool look like? Has it always been Reaper? Is it more of a recent development or what?
Uh, until season 9, it was always Reaper, and then I went back to it afterwards.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. How long have you been played Overwatch?
I want to say 2017, 2018.
So you've been around for a while. Has it always been Reaper one trick?
Outside of my first season, yes.
Okay, makes sense. And what appeals to you about Reaper and over all these years?
Honestly, I'm not really sure. It's just I liked the character. It was a shotgun character. Then I followed Spirit for a while, so that was
Yep,
probably it.
I remember Spirit. He was crazy. Yeah, makes sense. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. What's the highest rank that you hit in Overwatch 1 or 2?
On two, it would have been season 9, which was GM5, but at the time that was top 100, I think, or
Okay.
150.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, okay. And as you've improved at Reaper, and as you've gotten worse of Reaper, obviously like ups and downs over time, what has kind of been the correlation of those things? Is it I get better, so I'm more motivated to play, or I'm motivated to play, so I play more, so I play better? Um, are there specific aspects of your gameplay that you feel get worse or better over time?
It's probably actually similar to my Destiny 2 experience, where the better I got at the game, the more I would play the PvP side.
Yeah.
And then when I like hit top 500 on just generic leaderboards for Destiny 2 trials, I just stopped playing.
Okay. Okay. And
Because it's
what?
like I felt like I hit the goal and I had no reason to
Ah,
play.
got it. Makes sense. Makes sense. So you have a goal to reach. That's kind of like your reason why you play. Then you hit the goal, and then you're not motivated to play. And is that kind of where you're at right now, where you have a goal to play? I want to hit Grandmaster again, so I'm more motivated to play. And then once I get it, I'll kind of check that box and move on.
Um, I think so, but also part of me just wants to hit Masters 3 and just enjoy playing the game there for a while
Sure,
to see if
sure,
I can just make it back to one of my daily drivers.
sure, sure. Okay, makes sense. Why Masters 3 particularly?
It's I think that was the first Masters thing I like settled in when I first started playing Overwatch 2.
Mm-hmm.
And it was overall the most fun rank I had,
Sure,
where I
sure.
tried, but I wasn't really trying that hard to win.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, what I would do is I would just consider like what are your motivations? Like continue to consider what are your motivations to play? Like what do you really want out of the game? Because obviously, like you've been around a long time. There's been a lot of ups and downs. So when should you be applying yourself to Overwatch? Why? What is it about the higher ranks that's really appealing? Because maybe it's like the quality of games in Masters 3 is a little higher than Diamond 4, you know. But it's something to consider. Like exactly, kind of like what your time frame is. So for me personally, when I apply myself to Overwatch, it's usually more for business reasons. And when I do so, I focus mainly on solo queue, right? Like I'm going to learn a new character, learn a new rework, and so on. For you, you kind of have to evaluate like what motivates me to hit GM in the first place, and then is that something that I want to sustain? Is Masters 3 something you'd want to sustain, or would you hit Masters 3, play it for a week, and then kind of move on again, right? There's nothing wrong with being lower rank. I guess it just would, I would take a close self look at like what motivates you to reach your goals. And then recently, the first thing that you really said was that recently things have not been going so well. We kind of talked about maybe the end of season being the problem, right? Maybe you're just a little bit less motivated. How does that reflect in your gameplay? When you're less motivated to play, when you don't feel like you're playing as well, what does that usually look like in terms of errors or mistakes or lack of focus or what?
Usually it's just me autopiloting and just TPing the dumb places to see if I can make it work or not. I
Okay.
start limit testing more, even though I know I can't actually do it.
Sure, sure. That makes sense. That makes sense. And so what mindset shift, I mean, you've received coaching before, but like you've probably reached Grandmaster mostly on your own efforts, obviously. So what mindset shift put you into Grandmaster before? What way did you approach the game strategically?
Back then, I was more of just I was playing off of my teammates instead of trying to play make more. I would see what my teammates were doing first and then engage
Okay.
instead of just TPing to a dumb spot.
Okay. Okay. And that's probably what a lot of our gameplay review is going to be talking about today, right? Right. It's going to be
Yeah.
like, I think proactivity is good, but proactivity that is to complement what somebody else is doing, right? Like either I'm going to lead the cavalry where my team can follow up, or I will follow up off of my team's initiation. And so, okay. So you're looking for general advice. You're looking for critique. Reaper one trick, you play around 10 hours a week. Now, is that your plan for this season? Let's just say the next 2 or 3 weeks. Is that your plan?
I'll probably drop it down to probably 6 or 8 because New World did their relaunch, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it out again,
Yeah, fair enough.
even
Fair
though I
enough.
know how that's gonna end.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. And what is that training going to look like? Is that going to be over 1 or 2 days, 3 or 4 days, 5 or 6 days, just a little bit every day, or like what's that going to look like likely?
Usually it's like an hour or two every day, but I'll probably drop it down
Okay.
to
Okay.
probably like 45 minutes or 3 games to see just stuff I can actually focus on.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a warm up routine, or have you had a warm up routine before, or no?
I used to, now I just jump in the queue.
Okay. Okay. What did your warm up routine used to be?
Sometimes it was Kovacs, sometimes it was just me playing some Osu maps just to warm up my arm after work.
Okay. Okay. Why don't you do it anymore? Just lack of time, lack of motivation.
Um, Probably lack of motivation.
Okay.
Mostly it's just I haven't reinstalled the apps after I updated my computer.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. What I would do is I think warm up's important. I think warm up is also flexible. I think the purpose of warm up is mostly just kind of wake yourself up, get yourself engaged with moving your arm and aiming. But if you lack motivation, then I think the always the easy solution is to just lower the bar, right? So if installing the programs is just like, yeah, Vaxta, right? 2 to 3 minutes, right? Are you familiar with Vaxta?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, legitimately 2 or 3 minutes. Just go in there, kill a couple of bots for the timers in the top left, 2 minutes, and then jump into rank from there. I think any sort of warm up is probably useful, just based off of the nature of the rapid exposure, shooting over and over and over and over again. And that's it. Just 2 minutes. Make it easy, make it convenient, if that makes sense. That would be my recommendation. And then if you're motivated and you feel like you're getting value out of it, and maybe we can step it up from there. But I think that my first recommendation would be to continue or install your warm up routine. Just make it very, very, very simple so it doesn't feel like a big ask to get into. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And then you said probably aiming for 2 to 3 games a day is likely where you're going to be at. That seems very reasonable to me. It might be challenging to reach Masters 3 with that, but I do think it's possible given your experience. And if you're, like you also were very specific with your terminology, you said with good focus, right? So I think that that's good to hear, right? Like, you can get into higher ranks with minimal games if you go in with a level of effort and intensive value that a lot of other people don't really do. So I'm curious to see if you're able to do that again, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. So 6 hours of sleep per night on average is a bit low. If that could be improved, that might improve the quality of your game, your reaction speed, your mechanics, your ability to learn. And the final thing here is you say, what do you feel is holding you back for improving? And you say mentality/understanding. Elaborate on that a little bit, if you will.
Um, ever After season 9, I like only played 10 games a season until this season.
Mm-hmm.
So I just really forgot how to play the hero.
Okay. Okay.
Like I know what to do, I don't know how to do it anymore.
Okay. Okay. Is it that you can't remember, or is it just your body doesn't do what you used to be able to do?
The latter.
Probably, yeah. Okay, so that means probably the knowledge is still there, but the execution is super, super rusty. Okay, we'll talk about
Yes.
that. Now, so understanding in terms of like, I don't apply what I know necessarily. And I like that you say understanding, because really understanding isn't understanding if you can actually do it necessarily. Like, I would say that I have a strong understanding, but a weak execution. Maybe you are lacking in both. Maybe your understanding is good, but your execution isn't good. I'm not really sure. We'll find out what that is. Now, you said mentality as well. Is that kind of correlated to your motivation at end of season? Maybe your hot and cold relationship with the game? What is it exactly?
Probably a combination of the two. Because honestly, I was done with Overwatch until my friend group started doing pugs again, and I
Mm-hmm.
just joined in. And then I enjoyed the pugs, and then I went in a rank, and it just isn't the same.
No, it's not. It's not. Okay. Yeah, again, I guess I want to go back and reemphasize before we get into gameplay review here. The most important thing that you can do off of this session is take the time to evaluate what do you want out of the game. What do you enjoy out of the game? If we have the session, we gave you some goals, you feel motivated, you go into solo queue ranked, and the first couple of days you just don't have any fun at all, then maybe it's just you're done. Maybe it's time to play pugs with friends or quick play stack with friends, and that's Overwatch for your career, right? I mean, you've got lots of other things I'm sure that you can apply yourself to that you enjoy more. So why does it have to be Overwatch? You know, we all move on, right? We all have different skills and talents. So now, if you have the session, you get into solo queue ranked, and ranked is a little clunky, but you're enjoying the process of improving, then that's great. But I guess I wouldn't feel obligated to play ranked to force yourself to improve if you're not enjoying that process when there's so many other things that you can apply yourself to. I don't think the problem is with you necessarily. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions before we get into gameplay review here?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Let's take a look here. So do you have a replay code here?
Yes.
Let's do this. Going to be my second to last review of the season, so it should be fun. Don't think things will change too much for Reaper,
Probably not.
although I'm curious to see where that rework will hit eventually, when, if it does
I'm not
drop.
even sure if that rework is still coming.
I remember they spoke about it being very visually intensive from like a graphical standpoint, so I'm assuming that's the delay, but listen, you may not be wrong there. So, okay, so talk to me a little bit about what Reaper's value is, what makes him unique compared to the rest of the DPS cast. And then also talk to me about when you said you would enable or you kind of capitalize off of what your teammates were doing. How did that used to look like? So general Reaper playstyle, and then how do you play Reaper in a team environment? Start with those two things.
Well, no, in general. I'm not sure. Usually I could just I couldn't really. I could TP to places where the enemy team couldn't see.
Yeah.
Only one person could see.
Yeah.
And I could engage on that target while they're isolated.
Yeah.
But nowadays it seems, I know a lot of people aren't in voice, but everyone just turns around. Will more people turn around now, or more people have abilities that just push me away?
Right. Okay. So then you go for these plays as like the element of surprise. I can secure an elimination. Now it feels like that's been feeling less successful because everybody gives you attention, even if they're not communicating. It just seems like they know. And then also they have abilities, like you said, that deny you to be able to close the distance and actually threaten a kill.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. But on paper, that's still kind of what Reaper's supposed to do, right? Use your teleport,
Yes.
use your short range move around, apply pressure from an angle, whether that's on back line or front line or whatever else. Okay. Now, in a team environment, this is kind of very important based off of your kind of gripe of what you just said, which is that everyone gives me freaking attention. It sucks. Okay. So then how do you function with Reaper in a team environment, whether it's ranked or in a pug?
In pugs, I could calm what I'm doing, and my team would also react accordingly.
Right.
But in ranked, I just try to do it in front of a healer or where a
Okay.
healer can see where I'm going.
Great. Okay. Great. Exactly. Okay. So in pugs, there's the element of communication that implies action. And ranked, it's implying action by the fact that, hey, you can see me, so you can do something about it, right? And I think that's very important. I think pugs is largely verbal and ranked is largely visual. And that's the big difference. In other words, you need to react to what you see is happening. And in pugs, you can react to what is being said, okay? So for you, you look at the situation here, your action, whether it's with your teleporter or not even using your teleporter and shooting tank or whatever, needs to be because you see your teammate doing something. Now, you said, I do it in front of a support, so you can imply that the support is doing something. And that's great. But actually, that's not the whole story. You need to see something from your tank. You need to see something from the enemy team, or you need to see something from even the enemy backline, right? Not just the enemy front line, okay? So you need to see some sort of action being taken by either the enemy team or by your team to allow you to go in. Because something that's unique about Reaper is that you can tank. In other words, you can go first. You could be the initiator, creating space for your team, correct? Baiting all the attention, right? But you're not optimal at that because you just don't have the health for it. And if you want to play Reaper optimally, you'll be the guy going second because everyone looks at Junker Queen and nobody looks at Reaper. And honestly, you have just as much kill threat as a Junker Queen, if not more. You're just a little bit squishier. So the strategy with Overwatch is the more fragile the character, generally the more lethal the character. It's just a general rule. So what that means is that the more fragile you are, it's okay to be a little late to the party because that means that you're allowing her to set you up. You're allowing the Sigma shield or the Rhine distraction or the Roadhog hook threat. You don't even necessarily need your tank to go in. You just need a warm body to pull the enemy team's attention. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So a lot of what your visual was talking about was in relation to your support, but I want you to expand your mindset to that to include not just your tank, but even maybe the enemy tank. Like let's say their Winston goes in, there's a lot of crap going on right here. Yes, your supports are distracted, but so are their supports. That's probably your impetus to go in. And the same thing goes for your tank too. So basically what we're going to look at here is we're going to look at two things. We're going to look at, is your execution in complement? Is it second to what the enemy team does or what your tank does? And then secondly, we're going to look at how you're setting up that initiation. Are you playing your effective range? Are you coming at it from a bit of an off angle? Honestly, Reaper is a very flexible target priority character, almost more so than any character in the game because there isn't a bad target matchup for you. Tank, backline, DPS, whatever. So let's take a look here. So you're not going in right now. Why?
I'm waiting to try to go for the Widow.
Waiting to try to go for the Widow.
Winston to move out the way.
That's it, right? See what you're doing and you don't even realize it, you're already applying what we're talking about. Is your tank taking space, creating a distraction right now? You can see her through the wall, right?
Yes.
Right? She's kind of, but I would look at this right now and say that there's not enough happening to justify you in engaging. Because your Junker Queen isn't really threatening anybody right now, and the enemy Winston isn't really doing anything either. So what should you be doing? And the answer is nothing. Nothing. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Now, you could go in now and create space for your Junker Queen to engage, but that's not efficient with a 300 HP character when you have a 500 HP character that can do it instead. So right now, you're going to wait, and you're going to wait, and you're going to wait, and you just heard Winston jump. What should you do right now?
Push. Well, at least push the angle.
Push or at least peek the angle. So again, your visual, or if you are audio, it's game cues, not communication. But Winston has communicated to you right now that he's committing, and you've missed your opportunity. You see that?
Yeah.
You were just a little late. Now, you didn't know the BAP was there, but even if the BAP wasn't there, let's say the BAP isn't here, this is still your window to go for this Ana. This is still your opportunity to go for that Widowmaker. This is still this opportunity to go for backline in general, and you need to go right now. Now, let's also judge your setup. Is this going to provide short-range options for you, this position right here?
No, but my plan was to TP into that room.
Perfect, and that's totally fine. You got it. So it's not short-range options immediately, but your teleport would have given you that short-range option. You got it. So I actually like your setup here. It's just too late, so you missed that window. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Now, this is probably okay because without turning my camera around, is there action happening right now? Predict it.
Yes. Well,
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Like my gut says yes. I see one on payload up there. I think I heard the Winston jump again.
Yeah, he was high ground.
Yeah. So what do you think of this engage?
It's fine for the most part. I choke on this engage.
Okay, so all we do to judge and engage is, was there action happening? Did you execute on a short range off angle? And if you really want the bonus points to really execute on a perfect engage, did you have an escape route? That doesn't necessarily mean that you get back to your team. You just live on cover or a mega or something like that, right? So this here, it's a good engage. You just, like you said, you just choked on the initiation. You just choked on the mechanics. That's all. So, you know, you look at that and you're like, ah, crap. But you know what? In terms of the strategy behind it, totally fine. In fact, the bigger mistake was the fact that you did not initiate off of the Winston jump 25 seconds prior. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So we're going to focus more on your strategic execution here. Okay, we just shoot, we just shoot, we just shoot, we just shoot. Now, what are you waiting for here?
For someone had pinged the Widow, but I wasn't alive when they did it, so I was waiting to see where the Widow shot from.
Okay,
So I peeked up.
So you're showing a little bit of a tendency here, which I want to discuss here. You're prioritizing Widowmaker because she is a high-risk, high-reward character that you can deal with. But I want you to be very cautious with forcing your target priority here. Because what's the problem with Widowmaker right now? Do you see it?
Yeah, she's far away.
She's too far, even for your teleport. So it's not your job to deal with Widowmaker, ever. It's not your job to deal with tank. It's not your job to deal with backline. It's your job to shoot people. And we need to look at the situation and decide, okay, what makes the most sense for me right now? For example, right now you don't have teleport and there's no real initiation going on right now. So what should you be doing?
Just waiting.
Just waiting, right? Okay, so then what are we waiting for?
Either someone to come closer or my abilities to come back up.
Exactly. So like, let's say the Winston dives you, you're going to shoot Winston. That's it. If Winston dives anywhere around here, you're going to shoot Winston because he's close. That's it. Now, let's say that you get your teleport before Winston initiates. Then what do you do?
I can either teleport to, well, that room on the left.
You got it. Why is this room good?
There's cover, and most of the team won't be able to see me.
There's cover. It's a short range off angle. Now, what will you likely shoot from this angle? Two things, right?
The Winston or the Torb.
Winston or the Torb. If you teleport and Winston jumps, don't go back on Winston. Shoot Torb, right? That's it. You solved it. Perfect job. So now all we're doing is we're waiting for an action. We're either waiting for my teleport to come online or we're waiting for teleport. Yeah, so you need to be careful. Don't peek that Widow right now. Peek. And see, this is the problem here. You're forcing a target priority instead of choosing a better position. What's the problem with this teleport here? It's not a terrible teleport, but it's not optimal. Why?
Well, everyone can see it.
Exactly. It's the location just isn't that good. The target is great. I mean, Widow is always good if you can get to her, but the position just isn't as good as the last time you teleported Widow, because this one is less in the open. This one is totally in the open. So here, if you were to teleport, it probably would need to be on Torb. Why? Because I like this angle better. It's shorter range, more cover. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So this is, I appreciate this, and maybe you'll execute, and you do execute on it pretty well. Like, you are going to create some space here, but the problem is that because it was so high risk, you had to Wraith immediately. Why is that bad? Because you're not doing damage. Why is that bad? Well, there's no pressure on the enemy team because you're basically playing 4v5. All you did was make the Widow slightly reposition, and guess what? You see it? This was your responsibility. This is your responsibility. Now, you could have gone, oh, but if I teleport there, Widow will get kills. Yeah, that's true. But you're not really, but Widow still could have gotten kills. You weren't really a threat to her at all because it was such a bad position. So you get the kill. Nice job. This is a little far. Good. Just keep shooting with whatever's close. And then that's too far in the open. You notice this? A little too far in the open. I want you to be a little bit more disciplined with your range, if that makes sense. And so if you were to peak this, when would you peak this and what would you be peaking it for?
Probably the bat.
Still too far, right?
Yeah.
So you either shoot what's close or you teleport to an angle to get close to backline. That's the rule, right? So here, this is just too far. Even with the changes, this is just too far. This Winston should be dead. And then if you want to close distance on backline, how would you do it?
TPing.
TPing,
or walking
right?
around left. Yeah.
Or walking on right. Like you could even TP here and come from here. I mean, there's Christmas Day, right? Like they're cooked. So this is just not good value. It's a good teleport, but it's just not good value, right? This Winston should be smoked. Why? Because he's just the most available target. That's why. So your crimes here have been a lack of value, a lack of pressure. And the reason that they have been crimes is because, number one, you forced target priority on Widowmaker when the teleport was bad. And then two, you forced backline when the closest target was Winston. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So it's not complicated necessarily. Just, it's about putting pressure. Your target priority is fine. You can shoot whatever is convenient to you. Like right now... Oh, that's a good pull, actually. Okay, so like right now, I want you to think about positions here. What do you think? Like, let's say you don't have full information here. What can you predict is going to be a good position for you to control?
I was going to go to the left room.
Yeah, why is this good?
Because they can cross into it in the Widows.
If they push you, perfect. If they don't push you, you've got vision and options here. If the Widow isn't even here, well then great. We can go for backline, or we can go for backline, right? So let's set up our positioning here. Let's see what we do. This is okay. Would prefer teleport inside. Why?
They can see. I think I heard the Widow move over there, though.
Got
so
it.
I didn't
Okay.
say that.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Totally fine by me. I respect it. So I think your main mistake here was just, I liked what you did. It just took you a little too long to figure it out. If that's your mistake, is if you make a good strategical decision, but it takes you too long, that's okay. You just need to keep practicing making strategical decisions so it comes a little faster. That's all. But this was good. This is also good. Probably didn't need to chase the Winston here. Take a second to reacquire yourself, because do you guess who's close?
The Torb.
The Torb's right there, right? So this is kind of your priority here, just because he's close. But this isn't bad. Too far. So what should you be doing right now?
Just getting a better position.
Getting a better position, which is likely going to be where?
Up top again.
Yep, up top. Either top left or top right, your choice. Okay. Good. And really now, is there action from either team here? Seriously.
No. Well, there's poke, but not really.
Right. And there's not, because there's not really a position that you could do to deal with a poke right now. So what should you do?
Wait.
Wait. You got it. This angle's going to be good. Who's your target priority from this angle? This is a trick question.
I was there for the Widow.
You were there for the
I
Widow.
have an intense hatred for the Widow.
I understand, right? But the tricky part of the question is that I'm wanting you to say, I don't know. Whoever comes here, you will deal with them. If there's nobody
whoever
here,
walks up.
Right? Whoever walks up, that's your priority. I mean, even Hog here, right? Like you can ruin Hog from this range, right? So, you just wait. I mean, you see that. I mean, go for it, right? If this is a good teleport for you, but yeah, this is good too. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, there you go. I mean, look at how easy it is, right? You're on a close range angle. They're dead. Good teleport. Get out of there. Sneak up behind. Where should you teleport?
Either across to the other room.
Sure.
Or just to the
here,
ship.
or here. Yeah, or ship, or here. Yeah, let's close this angle. Yep, this is fine. Good. She's close, so she's dead. Obviously, a little bit of a unnecessary wraith. Where should you go now? Yep.
I went cart, but that's because cart was so close.
Yeah, understandable. And also, you're getting close, so it you pop off. This is a great fight from you. You played cover well. You timed things well. You moved around. You didn't really chase targets too much. You did chase Widow a little bit, let's be honest. But you just kind of shot a little bit of what was convenient, and you applied a lot of pressure. Nice job. You were just a menace lurking on backline. Great fight from you, really. And we're back at it again. Any questions so far?
No, this part I did good. It's the attacking half where I really just...
Okay.
Well, third point is also rough as well.
Yeah, sure. This is a mistake. Why? What's wrong with this?
I should have just backed up the other way.
Right. Remember the very first thing that we talked about is there action from the enemy team?
Well, no, there isn't.
Not really. Not. I know what the struggle is that they are poking here, but you're not in a position to assist right now, so you just don't need to do anything. You can't do anything.
Well,
So
I
you
just moved because they popped walls, so they all
Sure.
knew I was just
Sure.
sitting there.
Sure. But you know what? What can they do about that?
Nothing unless they actually walk up.
If they walk up, then yes, I understand, right? There's some risk involved, but there's also risk for them too. So, I don't know. You're on a short range angle here. Yes, the element of surprise is something, but to go back to your earlier point where you're like, I mean, I feel like everybody looks at me. Great. You're built to live that, right? Like you have the HP, you have the Wraith, you have the teleport, you have even the self-heal, right? So if everybody walks in here and gives you attention, you could take a couple of shots, you can Wraith out. Like that's attention that is good for your team here. So like you said, you go the wrong direction, but you're also taking action right now, and you're taking action by yourself. That's the problem here. And so this is just going to feel messy, and now you've lost space entirely. Now that's not terrible, but what should you do right now? What's the first priority now?
Probably just walking back high ground.
Walking back high ground
else.
or setting up somewhere else. Perfect. You don't do any damage here. Find a setup. Find a position. That's fine. This is good. This is a little far. This is fine. Good. It's fine. I mean, I understand. You're worried about card. I get it. But I guess my point here is I want you to watch the enemy team's response when you teleport or pushed out. Watch this really carefully. Okay, so we'll check this out. Watch the red circles. You see it?
Yeah.
What do you see?
Well, the Tor pushed back out left, and then the supports both moved up the left ramp. Well, the left high ground.
Could you have single-handedly stopped them from rotating? Maybe not.
I could have stalled it a little.
But you could have stalled it, and you could have maybe gotten a trade. You could have discouraged. And what happens is they get space. And space is bad because space allows them positions to heal. It allows the positions to do damage. It gives the Ana sightlane, it gives the Bappa sightlane, it gives the Widow sightlane, it gives the Roadhog a sight, and so on. Right. You would have needed to give that up eventually, but you gave it up for free. So remember, your setup is everything. Your setup is everything, and then the timing of when you initiate that setup is everything. And so you unfortunately gave up space, which meant that for the most part of that fight, you just really weren't close to anything until very, very late with the Torbjorn. Okay. Now, reevaluate the situation here. Where's the fight starting? Where's your setup appropriate? Look at the situation.
It's going to start in that alley. I just went up top to hear if the Widow would grapple or not.
Sure.
I probably should have just went to, over near the soldier.
You got it.
With the hog.
You got it. You can get frontline pressure from here, or you can go sit up on this angle here, either in here or here or here. You got options because they are going to walk into you. Somebody is going to walk into you, whether it's the hog or the Ana, the Torb, somebody, right? So the problem is now it's too late. Right. I mean, you can and should teleport backline now, and maybe they won't see you because they are using Nano on Roadhog right now. But it's going to be late. Go. See, this is good. It's very late. It's too late. But even if you die here, how is this good? What do you see?
It took the attention of 2 people.
More than
three,
that.
actually.
Three people. Yeah, 3. 4 people. I mean, you're very late. And you had to use your teleport when they saw you. So this sucks. But from a fundamental standpoint, it's better to die here than it is to die here. Because this Roadhog is dead. I would say this Roadhog should be dead. Okay, if he's not dead, he's very close to being dead. And also, you set up, nobody's thinking about Soldier. Literally nobody's looking at Soldier right now. Who woke you up? Was it Torb?
I think so.
No, it's
it was
Bap. That Widow is flaming
him. Yeah, they
him.
just had a late nade.
That Widow is flaming him. Good. So, excellent setup, except for the fact that it was about 10 seconds too late. But you see the value there, right? Like, even when they do look at you, if you're set up appropriately, where your team can capitalize off of it, either on you or the tank, then you're popping off. Okay, let's keep going here. Thoughts? What do you think?
Yeah, that's a fine engagement.
Perfect. It doesn't matter who you shoot here. It could be tank. It doesn't matter. This is perfect. This is going to be a huge problem for them.
Yeah,
This is just a mechanical mistake from you, right? Like this is
yeah.
should have been a kill, should have broken turret, shouldn't walked into the open there, should have
I
wraithed
probably should
out.
have just shot the Torb instead of the turret at that
Yeah,
point,
well,
and just
or-
killed the turret on the way out.
Sure. I mean, you just needed to commit to one here, and then wraith out, grab Mega, and then if they push you, you just Death Blossom, and you're fine. It's just a mechanical screw up, but the timing of things was really good, and you were also down one immediately. Yeah, why not? Let it rip. Let's go. Beautiful. Yeah, totally worth it. Great job. Good job. I would say trades with Death Blossom or solo kills are always worth it because you make a lot of noise. So you're going to get 1 for 1, plus you're going to get a lot of resources from the enemy team usually as well. So
Yeah, I
okay.
usually just go for a solo Blossom because any more than 2, they can usually just kill me through.
Yeah, that was good Blossom. You gotta set up. Now you might be thinking, okay, the fight's gonna happen on cart here because the cart's so close, so I want to play here. But looking at your team's position, it's not going to happen on cart. You see it?
Yeah.
It's going to happen again on this corner, and again you're going to be late with your setup. So you're like, crud, now what do I do? Do I teleport again and get slept again? Like, what do I do? This is good teleport. You close the distance here. This is good. But again, it's just late. You notice that? It's always just a little bit late at this particular point. This is fine. I wouldn't necessarily chase the Roadhog. What's the best target from your position? You can't see it, but use your spider senses here.
Probably the Ana.
There's somebody here. Yeah. There's somebody on this lane here, and it is Ana or it's Zen, or even if you wanted to shoot the tank coming in from behind here, probably would make a little bit more sense. I don't hate this here. It's just a bit awkward. Good shots. Wow. He just melted. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. So, in terms of things that you're seeing so far, now you said you struggled more in the attack, so this will be good to look at. What are you seeing so far? What are some things to consider?
I'm slow. Usually when it comes to me actually engaging.
Okay. Why are you slow? Like, how do we know that you're slow? What 2 things have we seen? Think carefully.
Places where I could actually set up instead of
Right.
where I go.
Right. So you're slow to recognize your setup opportunities. That was mostly on third. I think that was mostly on third. I'm trying to think if that was also a problem on second. Yeah, mostly on third, right? So where the fight's going to happen, where do I need to be? And then first...
I gave up too much space way too fast.
Yep. And then first, you were slow here, even though your setup was really good. Why? What did you not pay attention to?
The exact time no one sent jumped.
Right. So the timing of your engage was late because you didn't recognize that there was something happening. So you showed up late to the party, essentially. Micro detail would be maybe fixating a little too much on the Widowmaker at the expense of your just setup, period, right? Just focus more on the position. But beyond that, I think it's okay. Any questions so far?
No. Everything's been broken down.
Okay, let's keep going here. So this is good. Obviously, let's get a little bit of information here. This setup is fine. This is well timed. Now, obviously, the attack is a little bit trickier because you don't have the positions initially, so you have to take them. So
yeah,
for
I heard
you,
the Widow grapple there. I just didn't know where it was to, so I backed out.
now, when you walk here, is this short range, usually?
Yes.
Yes, so this is an appropriate setup for given the situation. So when you teleport here, what are you waiting for?
I'm not entirely sure. I think I was just waiting for Shadow Step at that point. Because my team was just... Someone was pushing cart. And I had no clue what the others were actually doing. I didn't
Check this out. Check this out. You should look. That's the key thing here. Because you can't see through walls here, but you can see through walls here. Is this information good enough for you to shoot off of? Look at what you see.
It's good enough for me not to shoot. Well, not to push in all the way yet.
Okay. What is your soldier doing?
He's engaging something, but the other 2, the supports are not really.
How does a Lifeweaver and Juno engage?
Well, they don't engage. I'm saying they're not actually in the engagement yet.
Sure.
Like, I think Juno's still coming out of spawn.
Sure. So maybe like a second or 2. I would argue that your Roadhog is engaged here. And the reason why that's the case is because how does a Roadhog engage, right? Like he shoots.
He just
shoots or takes presence or is a big fat body to shoot. And he's pushing cart. Like that, this Roadhog is getting smoked right now. So I would say in the next 1-2 seconds, we need a commitment from you and we need it right now.
because there is activity happening. It's not Winston diving in because it's not what a Roadhog does, but there needs to be a commitment from you right now. So this is where you don't have to guess. You can look and go, okay, I need to go. And sure enough, everybody is locked in on this target right here. You need to go. Nice. Excellent. Excellent, 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 excellent. Now here is bad. Why? It's not terrible, but
I'm isolated from everyone.
You're isolated from everybody because you needed to recheck. You needed to recheck. Is your team engaged?
Well, no, they weren't.
No. Why? Because there's nobody there. You notice that? There's just nobody there. So when you go in, you are tanking, essentially, which is kind of what we talked about earlier. So you will create space for your team by doing this. But Reaper generally doesn't want to do that. You want to be the guy following up off of the space if you can. So this is not terrible, but it's just not optimal either. Now you survive it. Your team is able to quickly take space off of you. So that's very nice of them. Good for them. That's helpful. Now we're thinking the next step. So this is where...
I just end here.
Okay, you just end here. Okay, so
I try to TP on the Zen or the Widow.
Right. So let's change that. I want you to take space, and I want you to time it well. Okay, so let's hindsight coach you here. What would you have done optimally here?
Honestly, I probably would have just taken the stairs behind me and just go in the small room with the mini.
Okay, and what would you have done from here?
Just shoot at either the D.Va or the Mei to see if one of them just follow me.
You got it. Short range offing. And then the key thing for me is when would you have done that? I want you to look at your tank and tell me when, because remember, we can see through walls. Tell me when you would have done this.
When he gets up to the corner.
You got it. Perfect answer. Perfect setup. You're a wizard. Now, if you wanted to go for backline here, the timing of when is the exact same, but where is different. So where would you have gone? Focus the position with the target. Yes, why high ground?
No one can shoot at me other than the D.Va.
That's it. So you're still going to go for backline here, but you're going on your terms. When you want to go for backline, you get to go. You teleport to cover. It's just a question of good setup. Okay. So the problem here is obviously the setup is not great because you should have gone for high ground. But also, without turning around here, what do you think of the timing?
It was bad.
It's probably too early. You're tanking again. And sure enough, he's not quite at the corner yet. That's good enough to where you're getting at least a little bit of help from your hog here. But you needed, if you were going to go for this teleport, you needed to wait till now. Right now. For optimal. So if you're going to die, again, like on third point, at least make it optimal. But obviously, you teleported. You did have Wraith, so that's fine. And but the problem is even if you had Wraith here, you probably would have you probably would have had to gotten life gripped out. You would have had to get life gripped out because you would have been cooked. Okay. So we need to build the habit with your setup that you're teleporting to safer angles with cover. But honestly, more importantly, I just need you to check your team, either from an audio cue or a visual cue. All right. That's probably why you perform better and have more fun in pugs, because you don't have to do that as much, but it's still a good fundamental to get into. And as somebody who's coached a lot of high level teams, right, having visual cue is still really important, even when there is communication. Because sometimes people can't call stuff. Like sometimes people are focusing on mechanics. Sometimes, they miscall or you need to be able to look. Okay. So without looking here, is the timing of pushing cart here good? Let's not worry about the setup. Is the timing good here?
Yes.
I feel like it's a teeny bit early. I think your Roadhog just is walking forward now, but I think
picked the Widow.
Yeah. I think it's okay. See, it's a little early. Like right now, I would like you to push cart. Okay, so this is fine. Now, in terms of setup, where should you go here? Short range off angle, right? What do you think?
Probably server or high ground.
Yeah, you could teleport in here, approach from this angle here. Or yeah, exactly. Teleport to high ground. And then again, you can kind of scout the battlefield. What do I want to do? You can take the angle here. Exactly. Now, the timing is going to be good here. Whatever you do here, even if it's just pushing cart, you're going to provide value here. I just want to see you set up from this position here. And I think that high ground would be a nice one to do, just because it gives you options. I think what's happened is you're getting gun shy. You mistimed your teleport last fight. You also teleported to pretty much in the open, died, and go, well, I guess I can't teleport versus this Zen. Yeah. So what's happened is now you're playing very conservatively, and I don't like this. I think your timing was really good here, but your setup is really lame. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Now, I like the fact that you're kind of shooting the tank, like, you know, for all that you're doing. Like, this is good. This is better. It's well timed. It's also pretty decent teleport. At least you've got some cover with the forklift. And you're going to cap. Widow's dead, so you can take this for free. Obviously, question of timing again, right? Now you're like, oh, I didn't know the Zen was there. It doesn't matter. Look at what your team is, right? So when you teleport here, you're like, oh, Widow's dead. I can take... Just chill. Just chill. Just sit here for a second. Chill for a second. Listen. Wait. If you see an opportunity and you want to play the game, okay, fine. But see, the thing is that your team can actually help you with this D.Va. They can't help you with this over here. All right. And so the timing is a consequence of not knowing where your team is, and that's why you're struggling in ranked. This is fine. Your team is fighting, so this is fine. You know, it's not a mystery. Like, we can almost predict when you're going to be successful and when you're not, just based off of whether your team is doing anything, right? Like, normally teleporting in a D.Va is not a good play, but hey, you know what? Your team's doing something, so like, you're gonna get away with it. So who cares? Now, where should you go now? Team is obviously fighting. So what's the play?
Either just shoot the D.Va or go high ground for the soldier.
Yep, you got it. You can either just continue shooting D.Va or take somewhere here or here and not even just for the soldier, just because you know somebody's going to be around here or down here. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Now, I prefer taking top just because off angle good. But, you know, this is also just fine too. Timing? Yes, no, maybe? What do you think?
It's in the fight, but it's also my team isn't around the corner. I think.
Yes, that's it. That's it. You need to wait like 2 seconds for this. So let's actually time it. Let's actually time it. Literally 2 seconds to see if I'm wrong. So 3:28. All right. So 3:27, 3:26. Timing now. Teleport now. What do you think of the quality of the teleport if you did it now?
Yeah, they wouldn't all be shooting at it.
That's it. That's it. So it's even timing mid-fight is important. And that's where a lot of people mess up, right? It's easier to get that first engage timed well. But especially if you're playing with a slower composition, their ability to take space and push to get the kills is maybe not super good. So you're tanking right now. Which again, I'd rather a Reaper or a Tracer tank than like a Widow or a Zen, right? But it is something that you might be punished for. So what you actually did is you set up your Roadhog, which is nice, but I prefer it the other way around most of the time. That makes sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. And then here, it's like, it doesn't matter, because clearly everybody's just completely going in, so you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, he went lower, and
He's
I got
going,
lost.
man. That's fine, that's fine. But yeah, I think the key thing for this engage is that it's one of those fights, again, where there's just like a lack of pressure from you because you mistimed your engage and they didn't really do a whole lot. The setup phase was actually okay from you. Relatively all right. Your timing was off, so you didn't do enough damage because you got basically poked out immediately. Okay. You have to turn around here. You have to. I think you're early again.
Yeah.
You just have to. Like, you have to. Because this is good. Like, this is a good angle. This is like really good strategy you got here. Good cover. You're just a little early. Now, again, you're tanking for your Roadhog. You're literally giving... Your Roadhog's like, dude, I'm so good at this game. Like, no, I'm just popping off against Ana, Zen, Reaper, Junker Queen. They can't stop me. In the reality, it's just you getting beaten over the head with a sledgehammer over and over again for his on his behalf, you know? So, the real MVP, I guess. But you can see, like, how easy it is to poke you out if there isn't enough initiation. And again, it's another one of those mid-fight things, too, right? Because you got to pick, right? But where's your Roadhog? I'm not going to turn on. Tell me where your Roadhog is.
Behind me.
Behind you. He's here, right? And there, yep, right, exactly. So let's look at what happens, and let's make it the 2-second rule. Ready? 1, 2. Now you go for your teleport here. Imagine the situation here. If this hog is peeking here, this Zen isn't looking up. This Zen is backing up, right? You see that? So now instead of you backing out, you're committing in. Your Roadhog goes in. This Junker Queen gets hooked. This Zen is cooked. It's over. GG's. You see that? As opposed to standing in front of the Queen, standing in front of the Zen at 55 trillion meters and getting poked out and being able to take space. Now, because you're a little late, your Roadhog had to tank a little too much. Look at his HP, right? But I predict something here. I predict that you're going to be able to get in here safely without a lot of people looking at you, at least initially, and there it is, because your Roadhog died for you, essentially. So you and your Roadhog are just totally off of tempo with each other, and this is why this feels... It's either one of the extreme. Either you go in by yourself, or your Roadhog goes in by yourself, and the other person dies. You seeing that?
Yes.
Soldier tanks for you, and it works. It's funny. It's like... you can literally tell whoever gets the kill, whether it's you or your Roadhog, it's because the other person tanked for the other person. That's like, it's like poetry here. So okay. All right. This is fine. It's definitely a bit of an all-in here, but this is fine. I like this angle. You can just shoot tank from here. Just shoot. There's stuff happening. You could shoot here if you want.
Yeah, I was waiting for the Zen, I think.
Yeah. I understand. But remember, you don't care as much about target priority here. You don't need to worry about being like this big explosive assassination on backline. Just shoot. Just shoot. Because you're going to do so much more damage than their DPS shooting this queen here. She's going to focus you. You're going to Wraith out. You're going to get healing.
I don't think any of us noticed that we never killed the Ana.
Yeah, I mean,
The Ana's in our backline.
All right, I got to see this. No way. Honest tanking, I guess. Okay, I'm curious what happens here. I think you just were like, oh shoot. Yeah, here's what happened. You did the Widowmaker thing. Where I think well, no, I think this is actually pretty good. Yeah, you just needed to go to cover instead. That's instead of your team. That's all. It was a fine. It was an okay play. You probably could have shot the queen sooner, but yeah. Now, as soon as you get your teleport, with where this fight's happening, which is going to be here, where should your teleport be? There's really only one answer here.
Probably under the soldier and Ana.
Somewhere over here, right? You need to close the distance somewhere over here. You could do the exact same thing that you did last time and shoot the queen from behind here. That could work as well. But yeah, it's pretty much that's the only way that you're going to be able to close the distance on anybody. I don't want you to teleport on high ground because it is exposed. Okay, maybe if you see sleep. Well, I mean, okay. High risk, high reward. You saw sleep dart, so maybe this is okay, but I'm still concerned about you getting poked here and then also maybe Zen messing you up.
Oh no, I just love, yeah.
Yeah,
I thought our hog was going to hook him when I did that, but everyone backed out.
I don't know. I don't hate this. I really don't hate this. It's not optimal. I still would have preferred you to play more cover and be rattier. But again, you saw Sleep Dart. You had Death Blossom. You wanted to roll the dice. They just popped Nanovisor. You know?
Yeah.
That's it. It's okay. It's okay. I don't think this is a mistake.
Honestly, I didn't even know they had Nano.
Yeah.
And I was already committed to hitting Q the second I hit TP.
It's fine. In fact, there's actually a real world there where you die there, quite literally. But you actually tank the Nanovisor here. Like, I don't know why your soldier's rotating here or peeking this. Like, this is really dumb. Like, you might actually here, if your team played this properly, you die, but your entire team lives. They over push, and then you can maybe use tree and then catch their engage. You kind of see what I'm saying? So it was a high risk, high reward play from you that almost worked. And it was timed well, too. Like, your team was taking initiation. Yes, you tanked a little bit, but you did see Sleep Dart and you had Death Blossom. Like, sometimes, you know, fundamentals be darned. If you see an opportunity, just go for it, you know? It wasn't dumb. It really wasn't. This is where you need to use your setup. This is where you're second guessing yourself on your setup. You just need to go.
Oh, there? I was just trying to scout to see where they actually were.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Oh, nice. This is cute. Now, obviously, on a soldier going to be a problem, but this is cool. You need to go. And you're hesitating here, but the fight is.
I was waiting for TP because I didn't want to just.
Yeah, I understand, but then this is when you just need to drop here and just shoot the queen in the back, maybe even. Because I think if you have to do... Okay, let me put it this way. If your setup requires double teleport, then it needs to be done before the fight starts. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like if you're playing Tracer, it takes like 20 minutes to set up on the backline flank. That's probably not the play. Because by the time that you go here, yes, nobody will be looking at you, and yes, it will be an optimally set up engage, but I think it's going to be too late. I think your hog is just going to take a beating. So I respect the fundamentals here, but it's too late. Now, you will get the kill here because nobody's thinking about Reaper anymore. Wait, there's no way. Hog gets the kill from the grave. Let's go. So you really, really, really let your hog tank for you. Stay here. Okay, go. Go. Good teleport. I wouldn't chase. I would just shoot what's above you. Good. You just tanked for your soldier. I think you guys win this now.
Yeah, he kills. Well, he gets out in the night.
Yeah. I mean, the only. Yeah, you just did. You shouldn't have chased here. I think. I think I go for the Ana instead. So overall, I would say this is not a great fight from you. I think you were a little bit too slow, but I think this is a good example of why letting your tank take some of the heat for you is important, right? You waited too long, but you notice how like you just kind of walked around the backline for a while and nobody was looking at you, right? That's because you timed things honestly too late, but like you can kind of see it there. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Good. Just keep. Ooh. Honestly, yeah, I would say yes. This is worth it. Totally worth it. Yeah, I mean, you might as well roll the dice there. Wait. Oh, okay, never mind. I thought you guys had it for a second there.
Oh no, we lose this one.
Okay, let's take some notes. So we've talked about a lot of little things like fundamentals and basics and advanced stuff, and even a little bit of micro there. Do you have any questions before we take some goals down?
Not for this game. But when
Okay.
it comes to shooting Orisa, should I just always teleport to backline instead?
I would say shooting the Orisa from a short off angle can be very valuable, but if you see Fortify, then yeah, it's not really worth it.
Yeah, because normally they just pop Fortify, then I can't do anything.
Yeah,
Then they have the spinny spear.
I think Reaper is countered by Orisa. I actually really do. I think it might be your worst matchup in the entire game out of all the tank DPS and supports. Maybe that's just me. I think I'd rather play into almost Flyers than I would play into Orisa. Everything about her counters you. Like even her armor, right? So yeah, I think like I don't think that there's a lot of tanks that I would avoid entirely as Reaper, but I think Orisa is definitely a tough one. Forcing her cooldowns is okay, but then yeah, maybe force a cooldown from a good angle and then go. But yeah, in general, to prioritize the setup and less on the target. Okay, so let's good question. Any other questions?
No, that was all.
Okay, let's take some notes here. What do you got? Let's say big picture, small picture, details, big things. What needs to be practiced intentionally?
My timing.
Timing
For actually engaging.
of
in
your
setup.
engage. Okay. Specifically, how do you practice your timing though? What was the thing that we kept asking you to do?
Look at where my team is.
Looking at your team's positioning pre-engage / setup phase. Like that is everything. Like having visual confirmation. And if it makes you feel any better, again, as somebody who's coached very high-level teams, especially with the tank players I've coached in the Overwatch League and Contenders, this was a very, very important habit that we always try to drill is turn around occasionally. Check your team's positioning. Even just occasionally. Mid-fight, it happens. It's okay. But especially pre-fight, there's no excuse. You must check your team's positioning. Okay? And in setup phase, what needs to be done better with your setup phase?
Finding a place quickly.
Finding a close
A good location.
range, angle, location quickly. Don't overly focus on target priority as much. Because you are so very flexible, it's more about finding that setup with cover. So we'll establish, cover, a bit of an off angle, and then obviously doing it off of timing is really, really important. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. There's a couple other details. Was there anything else major that stood out to you?
No, it's just, well, these two are the major things, I think.
I agree. I think that these are the fundamentals of Reaper, right? I would say that you have a good Reaper, but I don't think you have any major weaknesses or strengths. But when you need to get better at Reaper, you need to improve your fundamentals, and I think this is exactly what needs to be done differently. I don't think you misunderstand how to use teleport or how to use Wraith, or I don't think your mechanics are bad or your Death Blossoms are bad. It's just that the basics of Reaper need to be improved slightly, and this is usually the case. Like even with Grandmaster top 500 players, very rarely do we have anybody that has like something uniquely crazy or weird wrong with how they're playing. It's just that like the things that a Bronze Reaper has to do, right? You're better than a Bronze Reaper at all of these things, but you're not good enough to be masters, if that makes sense. Okay.
Yes, it does.
Any questions?
No, that's all.
Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to practice these things and alternate what you practice with them. So this could be more of a check my team's positioning and then just set up quickly. I don't really think too much about my setup. I just go. And then maybe next game, I'm going to work really hard on my setups. I would say timing is going to matter a little bit more when you're playing with dive tanks, okay? And or when you're moving around a lot around the map, okay? The setup phase might be worth practicing on maps where you're a lot more unfamiliar with the angles or if it's a really hard composition to play into, like with a lot of counters. And it's like, man, I've got to really find the perfect angle to distract and harass and get kills from. That might be where setup phase is more important. Gibraltar, honestly, the map that we just looked at is rough because honestly, both are really important, right? The setups are hard, and because it's so big, it's very easy to mess up your timing, right? But like, let's say a King of the Hill map, that's probably where the setup phase is going to be a little bit easier. So it's going to be very important that you get the timing right. Other maps that maybe aren't quite so big, might be like a King's Row, for example. Maybe the setup phase is your big challenge because there are so many little flanks and angles and doorways, right? So that might be where you can be a little bit creative with it. Look at where the enemy team is and decide where you want to take your angle. That's it.